The day started like any other. You wake up, stretch, yawn, trip over your own 2 feet, and then stare blankly at the wall for a solid yell wall. It's 3 minutes contemplating if it's all worth it. But eventually you get up, shake off the existential dread, and start your morning routine. You brush your teeth, put on some clothes, and then head out into the world for another meaningless day of living. But what if there was more? What if today was different? Well, there's only one way to find out. So let's go.
Ow.
Our story begins in a quaint little cottage nestled away in the heart of the whispering woods. Inside, we find our protagonist, a young woman named Lolly, who is stirring a pot on the stove, humming a little tune while she waits for her dinner to cook. But as we soon come to learn, she isn't alone. In fact, her house is crawling with them. There's Papa Bear, Mama Bear, Baby Bear, and even Nana Bear. That's right, Lolly lives with a family of bears. But how did this even happen? Well, their story goes back 20 years when a group of poachers were carelessly wandering through the forest. They stumbled upon a mother bear and her 3 children. And in a moment of unadulterated evil, they cruelly murdered them. But before they could escape justice, Nana Bear the mother tackled one of the poachers and bit him on the hand, causing him to drop his gun. Nana Bear then grabbed that very same gun, shot him, and then died from her injuries. The remaining poachers panicked and ran away, leaving the forest forever. A few days later, a woman named Sylvie stumbled upon the scene and found a small baby bear crying next to his dead mother. Feeling sorry for the cub, she took him home and raised him as her own. They named him Barry. And as he grew older, Barry developed an insatiable curiosity about the outside world, which Sylvie encouraged. As a result, Barry became incredibly intelligent, and eventually he began bringing Sylvie gifts from his adventures in the forest, which she greatly appreciated. However, as time passed, Barry's behavior became increasingly erratic. He would come home covered in dirt and blood, and would often bring strange things inside the house. Concerned for her son's well-being, Sylvie reached out to a friend, a wildlife specialist named Dr. Lewis, who helped Barry stabilize and live a more normal life. Soon after, Barry met and befriended a female bear named Goldie, who had a similar upbringing. The two quickly fell in love and got married. Then not too long after that, they welcomed a son into the world and named him Benny. Meanwhile, Dr. Lewis and Sylvie grew to become close friends. And one day, Dr. Lewis invited both Barry and Sylvie to his cabin in the woods, where they have been staying ever since. Now back in the present, we see Lolly, who is now all grown up, walking out of the bathroom. She looks beautiful, but she also seems very tired. As she approaches her father, Barry, he notices this and asks if everything is okay. Lolly replies that she's fine, but Barry can tell that she's lying. And although he doesn't know why, he feels a deep sadness that his daughter is hiding something from him. Wanting to help, he gives her a hug, but she suddenly shoves him away, which causes both her and her father to become startled. We then flash back to earlier that day, where we see that Lolly is getting ready for her first day of college. She's nervous but excited, but Barry can sense that she is struggling with something deeper. As she prepares to leave, Barry tells her to be careful on the road, to which Lolly sarcastically responds, "Oh, don't worry, Dad. I'm sure all the deer are going to be watching out for me." Barry doesn't understand the sarcasm and simply tells her to drive slowly. But Lolly angrily retorts, "How do you think I got these scars?" Barry is taken aback by his daughter's attitude and sadly watches her drive away. Now back in the present, Lolly walks out of her room and sees that everyone is staring at her. She then awkwardly tries to make conversation, but no one says a word. She then takes this as a sign to go back to her room, where she lays on her bed and stares at the ceiling. Although she loves her family, she often feels like a burden to them and wishes she could live her life without their protection. She knows that because of who her father is, their lives will never be normal. And deep down, she harbors resentment towards him for this. At the same time, Barry is sitting in a chair quietly thinking about his daughter. He knows that she's unhappy and feels terrible that he's caused her so much pain. He then gets up and goes to his wife, Goldie, who is sitting on the couch. He tells her that he wants to do something for their daughter, to which Goldie responds by saying, "What do you mean?" Barry explains that he wants to take Lolly on a vacation to help her forget about her problems, but Goldie doesn't think this will work. She instead believes that they should just let Lolly be. However, Barry refuses to give up on his daughter and decides to do it on his own. Later that evening, he tells Lolly that he has booked a hotel for them to stay at in the city and that they are leaving tomorrow. Lolly is furious and screams at her father, telling him that he doesn't understand anything. She then runs to her room, slamming the door behind her. The next day, Lolly wakes up early, knowing that her father will come to her room at some point to wake her up. Sure enough, not long after, Barry knocks on her door. But instead of waking her up, he lets her sleep. He then looks through the window and sees that she has left. Thinking quickly, he grabs a piece of paper and writes a note explaining that he and Goldie are going to the store and that she should stay in the cabin. Then he leaves the note on the table and runs to his car. As soon as he gets there, he calls his friend Dr. Lewis and asks if he has seen Lolly. Dr. Lewis tells him that she came by earlier that morning, but she told him that she was going to visit a friend in the city. Barry is relieved to hear this, but he still can't help but feel uneasy about the entire situation. Meanwhile, Lolly is taking a bus downtown. At first, she is nervous being alone in such a big city, but soon begins to relax. After a few stops, she gets off the bus and begins walking down the street. She sees many new and interesting things, but soon realizes that she has no money and nowhere to go. Suddenly, she hears a loud roar and turns around to see a massive bear blocking the road. But this isn't any ordinary bear. This is Papa Bear, Barry's older brother, who had also been adopted by humans after their mother's death. Papa Bear is gruffer than Barry, but he's also smarter. In fact, he's so smart that he learned how to use human tools and even has a job working at a lumberyard. Lolly is initially frightened by Papa Bear, but once he learns that she's Barry's daughter, he becomes very nice and offers to take care of her. Lolly accepts his offer and moves in with Papa Bear and his family. Although she likes the bears, she often finds herself feeling lonely and misses her parents. Meanwhile, Barry and Goldie are frantically searching for their daughter, but they have no luck. They ask the police for help, but because they are bears, the officers don't take them seriously. Feeling helpless, the two decide to go to Papa Bear for help. When they arrive, Lolly is overjoyed to see her parents and apologizes for acting the way she did. She explains that she didn't mean to upset them, and that she just wanted to experience life on her own. Barry and Goldie are happy to hear this and tell her that they were worried sick. Papa Bear then suggests that Lolly move back in with them so that they can watch over her. But Lolly refuses, saying that she wants to try and be independent. Although Lolly is happy to be reunited with her parents, she soon realizes that she doesn't have any money and that she might have to start begging on the streets. Just then, her Uncle Benny approaches her and offers her a job at the lumberyard. She accepts the offer and starts working right away. For the next few months, Lolly works hard and saves her money. She also begins to develop feelings for one of her coworkers, a handsome young man named Sam. The two start dating and soon become inseparable. One day, Lolly comes home from work and finds her parents waiting for her. They tell her that they have something to tell her, but before they can say anything, Lolly interrupts and says, "I'm moving in with Sam." Barry and Goldie are shocked and demand to know why. Lolly tells them that she wants to be with the man she loves, and that she doesn't want to hold them back anymore. Barry and Goldie are heartbroken to hear this, but ultimately they respect their daughter's decision. In the end, Lolly is able to start a new life with Sam. She becomes successful and never forgets the lessons she learned from her family. Thank you for watching.